So New York has now called on the help of the National Guard as chaos ensues within the city. New York Governor Kathy Hochul seems to be fully aware now that there's a growing problem in the area. It's something that Mayor Eric Adams is painfully aware of, as well as they've recently seen a spike in crime. Now, many experts believe that this is attributed to the politics of their city and the influx of illegal immigrants coming in. I mean, they are a sanctuary city after all, right? Now, the problem though is that it's heavily affecting New Yorkers, something that experts predict can happen across the United States if this keeps up. So earlier this year, Mayor Eric Adams admitted that we're dealing with a huge humanitarian crisis. Since 2022, New York City has now become the home of 160,000 illegal immigrants and counting. And around that same time, Eric Adams had no choice but to say that there were migrants who were committing crimes within the city. He had to come out and say it. But did he clarify that it wasn't just illegal immigrants who were committing crimes? But he did clarify that it wasn't just illegal immigrants who were committing crimes. He pointed to other New Yorkers as well. Now, this offended some residents of the city as they felt as if they're being blamed for something that they didn't do. It also does not help that many New Yorkers are now afraid of going into their own subways. Now, before I drop the T on this one, all I ask is that you guys kindly drop a quick like for the video. I totally appreciate you guys. And I just want to thank you so much for always sharing these videos. You guys are amazing. Now, guys, to date, almost 100 assaults have happened within their subway system in this year alone. It's only March. So here's what Kathy Hochul had to say about the situation. She said that New Yorkers shouldn't have to worry about deadly weapons as they're going to their job or to visit family or to go to a doctor's appointment. They shouldn't have to worry if the person sitting next to them in the subway has a weapon of some sort. To fight these crimes, Kathy Hochul is deploying 750 members of the National Guard and 250 state and MTA police officers to their subway stations. Their job will be to inspect bags of people coming through and confirm if any of them have any dangerous weapons. Wow, so everyone gets to get treated as a criminal now? But this protection is limited to check spots. So the National Guard, the MTA police, or other state law enforcement, they won't be patrolling the trains at all. The governor then said that she's working nonstop to keep New Yorkers safe.
Anyone looking to do harm or spread fear on our subways, you will be caught. Plain and simple. There will be consequences. This has to end. New Yorkers deserve no less. And to those who are feeling anxious whenever they walk through those turnstiles, we will stop at nothing to keep you safe, you and your family members, and restore your peace of mind.
When you see people that's part of a catch, release, repeat system, it hurts our public safety. Small number of people doing bad things to good people in this city.
If anyone's curious what the NYPD is doing, what your cops are doing, they're making arrests at or near historic levels. The real question people should be asking is, why are we arresting people 100 times? And once we make the arrest, why are they back out within a day or two sometimes? More often than not.
And back to the governor's plan. One more thing she wants to do is increase the number of mental health experts in the subway, adding up to 10 more teams by the end of next year. Back to the bag checks, which are really more of a visual deterrent. The mayor wants to today bring up something that he has talked about before, installing metal detectors in the subways to pick up razors, guns, and knives. He said there are two products that seem to be the right fit for this subway and this city. We shall see.
She adds that she will restore the peace of mind to residents whenever they walk through those turnstiles. Now, the easy question from the critics is, well, what happens after that? What about the crime that doesn't happen within the subways? Some experts, though, are not convinced that these crimes are being carried out by illegal immigrants. A professor from the University of Miami says that the association between higher crime rates and illegal immigrants, it's weak. However, he also said that the data collection has been limited in this area. The idea is that police agencies across the country, they're reporting crimes to the FBI. Most of these agencies, they don't flag immigration status during an arrest, meaning that he basically argued against himself with his own statement. But still, they want to blame U.S. citizens for these crimes. Border security is becoming one of the biggest concerns for this year's presidential elections. Now, some polls show that 48 out of 50 states feel as if the #1 issue for American voters is the safety of our borders. Besides that, a growing concern for critics of the Biden administration is what Attorney General Merrick Garland is pushing for. He wants people to be able to vote without having the need to identify themselves or give any kind of form of legal identification. A lot of Americans do not feel safe with this idea, especially as our borders have been left wide open for pretty much anyone to walk through. There's also the matter of our living expenses. While we fund wars overseas and our lawmakers fight over how many billions of dollars is sent to the Ukraine, Americans here at home, they continue to struggle. And this does not help the Biden administration and their goal to get the president reelected in November. It's also made worse by what Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said recently. The expectation is that the Fed would be cutting rates early this year, right? Well, things have changed and Powell has also changed his tune. He says that cutting rates now would be too risky. He said that it could come in 2024. He can't give a definitive answer as to when though. So this opens up a huge problem for President Biden, as that's the second biggest concern for Americans. Concerns that will for sure be used as ammunition against President Joe Biden's campaign, given that he promised to both protect our borders and also keep costs down. Seems like he's not really doing either. Somehow he managed to break both promises in the same year. And if we're talking about concerns, there's this huge concern of age. Biden and Trump are 81 years old and 77 years old, respectively. Now, the only difference is that Biden is not being charged for mishandling of classified documents because it was found that he may have dementia. Be that as it may, Hillary Clinton's still telling you that Biden's the guy who should be leading the United States. In a recent interview, Clinton said that we all have to accept the reality that Joe Biden is old. But she said that even though he is old, he's done an effective job and does not threaten our democracy. Critics argued that forgetting you have classified documents in multiple different places doesn't prove you're taking care of the United States. She also commented on Trump and said that he's old, barely makes sense when he talks, is dangerous, and threatens our democracy. Now with that, Hillary Clinton's asking American voters to go ahead and pick Biden because he's basically the lesser of the evil. Many experts believe that it's going to take a lot more than Clinton saying this to sway many voters. In fact, recent surveys have now shown that 73% of voters feel as if Biden is just too old to lead the country. Only 42% of them said the same thing about Donald Trump though. It's also come out that around 6 in 10 Americans were not very or not at all confident about President Biden's mental capacity to hold down the White House if he were to win the 2024 presidential elections. Experts believe that another Biden term would send even more money outside of the country. Now, one country that many expect to receive this money is the country of the Ukraine. And as we've been hearing these past few months, the Biden administration has been working tirelessly to send them more funding. This comes at a very crucial time for them because their president, Volodymyr Zelensky, he just survived an alleged attempt on his life. The attack was said to have been launched at his line of cars where he was with Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis. Both of them were reported to have just been half a mile from where the strike killed 5 people. Right after that, Zelensky talked to reporters and said that this is what they're dealing with. He says that he knows that there are victims of this attack, and that even though he doesn't have all the details, he's pretty sure that people were hurt. He added that Russia does not care if they have international guests or not. They would attack anyone, whether it's the military or civilians that are not included in the war. This only further strengthens his resolve to ask for even more weapons and more money. Now, some critics feel as if this attack was just too convenient. Others argue that this is just how Russia is. But what do you guys think about what really happened? Now, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to continue to keep you guys informed of the facts of everything that's happening around us. Before I go, I want to thank y'all for liking these videos. Thank you for sharing them, and I'll see you on the next one.